Welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Moadel. I like to interview people from all different areas of finance and the markets because this is Looking at the Markets. And today I've got a gentleman on my program. I'm very privileged to have him. He is Mr. Casey Stubbs from Finance and Markets. Boy, he is involved in so many different aspects and facets of the markets, of finance, and we're going to delve into all of those and how he can help you as a trader, investor, or just about anybody involved in finance. He has ways he can help you, and there's a lot to learn today. So, Casey Stubbs, welcome to Looking at the Markets.
Thanks, David. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you finally. This was a long time in the making. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
So my name's Casey, and I have been online in the financial markets ever since I was 16 years old. My dad was a trader just for a second source of income. He was investing in stocks, and when I was 16, he asked me to help him set up his computer because I was a computer nerd, and he didn't know how. It was just when the internet was just starting to take off and stocks was transitioning from being a phone call to being on the computer, so he asked me to set it up for him. So I got him all set up, and then afterwards I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. I really enjoy the possibility of making money with stocks. And so right then at 16 years old, I was really interested in the markets.
Wow, that's an early start, and what a great start. Sounded like you were helping out your dad, but you were helping each other and getting your feet wet, so to speak, in the markets. Were you actually doing or getting involved in trading and investing yourself at that early age?
I was actually trading a couple stocks out of my dad's account. I don't know. I think you have to be 18 to actually open an account. So I didn't actually open my first account until I was probably 23, because I joined the military after that. But even while I was in the military, I opened up a stock account and I started to buy and hold stocks at a young age, with extra money that I made out of my Army paycheck.
Oh, wow. Okay. And do you remember the first things you used to invest in? I'm guessing blue chips for most people, right?
I actually bought 4 stocks right off the bat, and it was great. I had the best run of timing ever. I didn't put a lot of money in, a couple $1,000s, but I was investing in Cisco Systems, Intel, Ford Motor, and Lockheed Martin. Those were the 4 stocks that I was investing in right away. And what had happened was it was in 1999, and it was a run up to the big 2000 crash, and so I was just putting in, and then towards the end of beginning of 2000, I got out of the military, so I pulled all my profit out and I closed all my trades, and then right after that, the market had a big drop, and so I call that the best timing ever, but it was really total luck.
Hey, you know what? I'll take luck over skill almost every time because I'll tell you did great with that one, and I wish we could always do that well. So then, how did you get involved in starting to help others in the financial industry?
Well, as I mentioned, I had some computer interest, so I was always a computer geek, and I just continued on with the markets, just following it and doing a little bit of trading here and there. However, in 2009 is when I launched my first website, which was called winnersedgetrading.com, which no longer exists because it got acquired by my other company that I started. But winnersedgetrading.com, I started it, and I was just basically playing around on the web, sharing my experiences of trading, sharing my personal story, sharing my trades, doing some analysis on currency trades. And what happened was that ended up taking off because I was working part-time in construction industry, and the website took off. And after the first year of running that website, I was making some revenue from running the website through ads and through trading, and also through some product sales, because some traders contacted me. It was really a high traffic site, so some professional traders reached out to me and said, hey, we noticed your website, we'd like to maybe launch a joint product with you. And so I was the marketer, and then the traders were the traders, and we worked together to grow a trading business. And that was in 2009.
Yeah, and you've done quite well since then. You've helped so many people. So how do you help people today in the financial world?
Well, I have another company that I've launched, and it's called tradingstrategyguides.com. And basically what we do at tradingstrategyguides.com is we produce a strategy that traders can use in the retail markets. Okay, and we produce different strategies. We come up with one new one a week, and we write it out really simple so that people can understand it. We give clear entry instructions and exit instructions, and these are designed so that they can be traded on any market, whether you're a stock trader, whether you're trading Forex, whether you're trading crypto or futures. These strategies work because the price action is the same. The indicators that we use work on all the platforms, and so we try to make it simple so that anyone can follow. A lot of times you'll look online for a trading strategy and it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. People don't understand it. The images are not clear. They're like, when do I get in? When do I get out? It gets very confusing for people. And so we've kind of really taken pride in to make it simple and easy and clear. It looks nice so that it takes all the confusion out of it for people.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you're keeping it simple. I watch a lot of YouTube stock chart gurus, in quotes, on YouTube and elsewhere, and they don't really explain things. They don't break it down very well. They show their chart and they show a bunch of lines all over the place, indicators here and there, but after you watch the video, you lost 20 minutes or half an hour of your life, and you're no smarter and you're no better a trader or investor because of it. Whereas what you're doing is you're an educator like me. You're a lifelong educator like I am. You break it down, you make it simple. Can you give us a taste or a sample of what this might look like? This indicator, is this a proprietary indicator that you invented, or what is it?
Well, I'll get really to that, but it's funny when you say about when you look at some of the gurus' charts, it's kind of hilarious because you'll see them and you actually end up more confused afterwards. You think those guys must be really smart because I have no idea what they're doing. Sometimes it looks like a big mess. Right. But so the way that our strategies work is we produce the content on our website, and it's in an article format, and they read it. And then what we have done to make it even easier for them to trade is we create an indicator based on the strategy to be used as a tool to help them trade it. And it's a low-cost indicator because we want everyone to be able to do it. And we publish it so that it can be used on many different trading platforms. One of the most popular trading platforms we like to produce our indicators on is TradingView, which is a charting platform that works for any markets, and it's web-based. I absolutely love it. You don't even need a broker account to use TradingView. So that's really cool. But like an example is one of our strategies is a reversal strategy, and we called it the EFC. And so then we created an indicator that helps show you how to trade the EFC with just a tool to make it even easier. It's a visual representation to help a trader make trades using that strategy.
The EFC, I'll have to check that out, and hopefully people watching this and listening to this will check out your website and your services. So let's get a little taste. Let's get a little sample, because people want to know what you're looking at right now. I'm not asking you to make predictions here. Nothing in this video is to be interpreted as investment or trading advice or suggestions. I'm not a licensed or registered investment advisor. People have to make their own decisions. But what do you see in the markets right now? What are you trading right now? Are you bullish on anything? Are you bearish on anything?
Okay, so this is a great question, because we can take a look at one of our indicators to use. I can use that as an example. So the EFC, and it's we were kind of being funny with our marketing, EFC, because no one really knows what that stands for, but I'm going to let the secret out here on this show.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Not that anyone even cares, but EFC stands for easy, fast, clean, because we like to keep it keep it clean and simple so that when they see this indicator, they're going to be able to get in easy, fast, and it's clean. It's not going to clutter up your chart.
Okay.
So right now, if I'm looking at gold, for example, and I've got my EFC indicator on the chart, and I can notice that it's been going down for a long time, right? And it's coming up against some resistance areas. One of the areas that I'm looking at is a potential resistance around 1250, 1235 range. Okay. No, 1235 range. I'm looking at it, and so with the EFC, it's telling me that it's overbought or oversold. It's looking for a reversal. So this is a reversal indicator. It's coming up into a support area.
Okay.
And so what we were waiting for before we actually take a signal is we would look for it to start to bounce and to break a couple resistance areas on the top side, get a little bit of upward momentum before we end up going long on that potential trade.
So right now you've got gold as entering into oversold territory, but you're not taking the trade quite yet. You're waiting for signs of reversal according to your EFC indicator. Would that be correct?
That's exactly what we're looking at. And I'm thinking that it's probably going to be around the 1230 area, because if you look at the daily chart, you can see some nice support there. Okay. And as you know, in trading, it's never a guarantee. You don't know if how it's going to work out. That's why you play the percentages. Right. So if it doesn't end up holding, it could be an even further downward turn, and that's just sometimes it happens. But the bounce has always got to happen, right? So when it does, we want to be ready for it.
Gotcha. Now, let's say you make that entry at the 1230 area for gold, and things do go further against you. It just keeps going down. Do you have a stop loss? Do you just ride it out? What are you going to do?
Oh, I'm definitely not going to ride it out, because what I like to do is to keep my losers really small and keep my winners big. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stop probably about 1220, and then if it keeps dropping, then I'm going to wait for another re-entry. So the indicator will tell me when it gets some more momentum, when I want to get right back into it.
Gotcha. All right. So that's gold, possible entry at around 1230 with a rather tight 1220 stop. Gotcha. And that's according to your indicator so far, and these things can always change. Cool. What else are you looking at?
Another type of strategy that we produce on tradingstrategy.com, which is we didn't invent this, but we teach people how to trade chart patterns, right? And we've done it in a way that's a little different in the fact that we give really nice looking images, we keep it nice and clean, we give really step-by-step instructions, we make it simple for people. And one of the chart patterns that I'm noticing right now happens to be a descending triangle on Bitcoin. And so if you look at Bitcoin, it's been making its way down, and there's a triangle. And so if you understand how chart patterns work, there's a flat bottom, and it means there's support, right? So there's a support at a couple different levels around the 6,000 mark. Okay. And it's been holding. I don't know if you follow Bitcoin at all, but it's been holding at 6,000. It's 6,100 right now. Yeah. If that breaks to the downside, I think we could have an extensive run, even lower, possibly 3,000. So if we get a breakout to the downside on Bitcoin, we could see continued losses. Now, with that being said, I'm still very bullish on the Bitcoin long term. So if it does drop, I'm not going to take this trade. So if it goes from 6 to 3, I think it's very possible. So if you're a day trader and you see that clean break, like just pull up your charts right now and you can look at it. If you see that clean break, go ahead and take that short if you want. But I'm more interested in long term, so I'm going to be every time it drops, I'm going to buy more. So if it gets to the 3,000, I'm going to be loading up.
Wow, Bitcoin 3,000. So it would have to be cut in half after it's already been more than cut in half. From the top at around almost 20,000 for Bitcoin to 3,000, that's pretty drastic. But it takes guts to get in after a drop like that. Do you feel emotional when it gets like that?
I don't, because I'm just loading up because I believe that it's going to be above that. And I think you probably share some of my thoughts on this. Now, I don't know what you think about the drop, if you think that it's already well oversold. The only reason I'm saying that, it's not really a fundamental thing. It's just that I'm seeing that it keeps testing this 6,000 level, and it really looks like it wants to go. And if it does, that could create some more panic, because there's a lot of traders that are counting on that level, on that support level, to hold.
Gotcha. All right. So these support levels become self-fulfilling prophecies sometimes, is what it sounds like, because many people are watching the same levels, and so they actually kind of work out that way. So cool. What else are we looking at besides gold and Bitcoin?
Well, another big one right now is crude oil. If you've been following that at all, crude has been moving up nicely. It's getting to a point where it could be a little overbought. It's kind of like the gold, except in reverse. If you look at my EFC indicator again, it's showing that it's overbought right now. It did just take out a new high recently at 72. It just crossed, and today we're at 73.50. So I'm thinking that it's going to hit some pretty serious resistance around the 80 mark. So if you look at the weekly charts, and you're noticing that crude oil has been tested many times in the 80, and when it finally broke back in 2014 in November, it hasn't been back to that level again. So that's going to get a lot of resistance at that point. So I'm going to be looking for a possible short on oil, with the EFC indicator being overbought when it gets into the 80 range. And I'm going to take the trade the same way as I did with the gold, as I'm going to take with the gold. I'm going to wait for it to get some momentum to the downside, break a couple levels, and then get into the trade, use a nice tight short stop.
Interesting. So possible short position in crude oil at the 80 level, which has been resistance in the past. And this is all according to your indicator. Very cool. So we got levels for those. Any particular stock names, or just the S&Ps in general, the NASDAQ, Dow, anything like that?
Well, I actually haven't seen anything trigger right now on the stock market. I've just been keeping my eyes on those three. So I don't really have anything to share with the market, although I know it's been very volatile lately, and it's been really resilient, right? And so we've seen the market continue to rise, and the question everybody's talking about is, how long can this bull market last?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. And we're not expecting you to know. Nobody has a crystal ball that I know of, at least not one that works, regardless of all the gurus out there who claim to know better. All you do, instead of trying to make those kinds of crystal ball predictions, it sounds like you just have your indicator, you use your eyes and the machine learning, the computer technology that we have, to look at those support and resistance levels and decide where's a good entry point and where do I get out. So it sounds like you keep really tight stop losses. Do you find yourself getting stopped out a lot as a result?
So I honestly don't really look at these as being that tight. And I guess it depends on how you're looking at the market. So that's a great question. So if you're looking at a daily chart and you use that as your overview, like the big picture look, and then you drop down to a smaller chart to actually manage your entry and your stop, then it's not necessarily that tight. So if you're using a daily chart and then you take your trade on an hourly, it still gives you a really decent amount of room. So if I go in around, let's use the crude oil one that I just talked about. If I enter short around 79 and I give it a $2 stop loss, that's actually a pretty big margin. Okay. And it depends on your size too. If you're really loading it up on leverage, you need to keep your stops short in order to maintain your risk. And it can also be used. It's a positive and a negative thing. It depends on how you use it. But you can keep your stops a little tighter, increase your size, and there you're going to get a little bit more rewards, because you're able to increase your trade size by keeping your stop a little bit tighter.
Sure, absolutely. Now, do you do some short-term trades and some long-term trades? Do you how much do you allocate toward day trading, swing trading, and long-term buy and hold?
Well, one of the really cool strategies that you can use that I like is to focus on short-term to be a little more aggressive with, right? And so here's a really good way to maintain your portfolio. I believe that everybody should be aggressive and conservative at the exact same time. And so you take 80% and you keep that in your safety mechanism. And then you take 20% and you do use that for short-term trading, and you're really aggressive with it. And so then what I do is, if I get a nice run where I make some profit on the short term, I'll then roll over my profits and I'll put them into my conservative file. And that way I've already made a profit, and then my aggressive trades are not at risk anymore. So if let's say I put $5,000 into my aggressive file, once I make another 5,000, I'll pull that off, I'll put it into the conservative, and then I don't even have to worry really about losing because I've already made the money back on that. And so that's one way that I use to keep my profits safe.
Absolutely. So you're playing with house money at that point, is what it sounds
exactly.
like. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that takes some of the emotion out of it. Of course, if somebody took that the wrong way, they could use it as an excuse to be reckless. And we're not talking about being reckless with that money. Just because it's house money doesn't mean you should gamble it away. You still have to have a method. You still have to have a plan. Trade your plan and plan your trades. And that's what it sounds like you're doing, and you're doing it day in and day out. Do you take a trade every day, or can you go for a long time without taking a trade?
I usually try to trade maybe one trade a day, and then I have some longer term trades that I'm buying and holding. Like, for example, Bitcoin is a great one for me right now that I'm buying and holding. And so what I'm doing with Bitcoin is every time I get a dip, I'm adding, right? And so right now I'm underwater, and that's okay because I didn't get in at the top. I started to get in on the way down, right? So every time it drops a new level is when I add more. If I was sitting in at the 19,000 point, like a lot of the guys that are suffering, that would be a lot more emotional and a lot more difficult. But for me, every time it hits a bottom, I'm adding more. I just added more last week, and if it goes up, I'm really, really happy. But if it goes down, I'm really, really happy because then I get to add more. So it's kind of a great place to be, where you get to be happy whether it goes up or down.
That is great. Very few people get to that point. It almost sounds Warren Buffett-esque, where if you buy something at a great price and it goes down, hey, it's at an even better price now. And you didn't throw all of your capital into that one trade, so it's okay. You're scaling in. You're averaging down because you look at it, you already bought it at a great price. Why not buy a little bit more at an even better price? That's how Warren Buffett tends to view it. And it sounds like you've got that great attitude as well, where you never have to buy out of fear. You never have to wonder whether you're going to sell because you got your stop losses in place. And for the long-term buy and hold situations, you're buying something you believe in. You believe in the blockchain technology, you can buy the cryptocurrencies. But only if you believe in the technology and you believe in the future of Bitcoin and so on. Is it just Bitcoin for you, or do you have other cryptos that you like to look at?
Well, right now I'm just doing the Bitcoin, but I was looking at possibly getting into Ripple also. I'm going to do a little more research on that one. But I think the biggest problem that I'm actually going to have is, number one, is when I do make my profit, because I know I'm going to make it, is when to sell. Right, because if it goes past 20,000 again, is it going to hit 50? Is it going to hit 100? I don't know. And so that's going to be a challenge, is to figure out, okay, because I don't want to leave a lot of money on the table. So I'm going to come up with a strategy, possibly take a portion off of it, maybe leave a small piece on to run for the long term, take a big chunk. And then, so that's one problem. And the other problem is, what do I reinvest in after that? So because I like to take my profits and then roll them into something else. So once I take my profit, I'm going to have to find my next good thing.
Well, if that's your biggest problem in life, you'll probably be doing okay.
Yeah.
What do I do with those massive gains? A lot of people would love to have that problem, right? So it sounds like you're doing great. So once again, if people want to find out more, or if people want to contact you, where should they go?
Okay, so if you're interested in the EFC indicator, you can go to tradingstrategyguides.com. I actually have a free report that gives you exactly how to trade that. At tradingstrategyguides.com, I can give you the link if you want to post it below the video. Yep. People can check out that report, and it gives them everything they need. They don't need to buy anything from me. You don't need to buy a tool or anything, because I show you exactly how to trade that strategy. So that's one resource I can give you. And then if you're just interested in me, I'm doing so many different things in the finance market. You can actually go to my website, CaseyStubbs.com, and find out what's going on with me there.
Great. So if you'll send me those links, I will put them in the description below this video. If you're watching this, listening to this right now, feel free to click on those, and a free report, and that you tell people your basic strategy. I think that's fantastic. Why not download that? No obligation, right?
Absolutely, totally free, and we just want to educate people. We want to help you out. We make it simple, easy, fast, clean. We want to make it easy for traders.
Easy, fast, and clean. Man, I was going to steal that from you, but you already got it, so I can't use it now. I'll have to come up with something.
It's not really trading related. It's kind of just random.
Yeah, you know what though? Yeah. It is kind of trading related, because I like my screen to be clean, okay, not too many indicators, and I like my methodologies to be, easy. And do I like to make money fast? Well, I mean, who doesn't, right? That's not necessarily the best mindset of trying to make money fast, but if you could learn this fast, if you can start to implement your strategies in a relatively short period of time, I think that's a fantastic thing. And CaseyStubbs.com, and that's more of a personal website where people can get to know you and what you do for people.
Yeah, and so I know your business is for traders, your channel's for traders, so that the trading side would be easy, fast, clean. Get the report, learn how to trade. If you're interested in trading in financial business, that's where you're Casey Stubbs. That talks about all my business activities in the finance industry.
Okay, and people want to check that out as well. All right, I've been speaking with Mr. Casey Stubbs, CaseyStubbs.com, and all the links will be below in the description area of this video. Click on those links. Why not? It's free, and you could learn quite a bit. And we've heard some of your support and resistance levels for oil, for gold, and for Bitcoin. So I'm going to put this out as soon as possible so we can get that fresh information to people. Casey Stubbs, thank you so much. You had me on your program, and I finally got to repay you the favor. So you really have helped a lot of people, and I know you're going to continue to do that. Thanks a lot, Casey. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon on Looking at the Markets.
Thanks. Thank you.